BRICS and China's Competitiveness, Professor Jan Bosick. Emerging countries, BRIC Group. Transformation in Central and Eastern Europe. China's reforms and expansion. China and its competitiveness. Brazilian reforms and competitiveness. Indian reforms and internationalization. Closing and opening of China. China's integration and expansion. China prosperity. China's self-seclusion. Forced opening of China. China's revolutions, wars and decline, 1840 to 1949. Closing China, 1949 to 1979. Gradual but radical opening of China, 1979. Communist China. Land reform. Soviet advisors and help. Korean War. First leap forward, 1956 to 1958. Second leap, 1960 to 1961. Chinese-Soviet dispute. Cultural revolution. China after Mao Zedong. China's communist economy. Civil war and its economic consequences. Agricultural reform. Dominant role of communist state. State ownership. Planning and command economy. Forced industrialization. Closed sausage-and economy. Marginal role of market and competition. Deng Xiaoping reforms. Liberalization in agriculture. First free economic zones. Success of economic zones. Gradual reforms. 1989, Tiananmen. 1991, new wave of liberalization. Foreign capital and know-how inflow. Exchange rate depreciation and introduction in 1993 fixed exchange rate to dollar. Export expansion. 1997, new constitution and socialist market economy. Growth infrastructural projects Jingxi Dam, highways, airports, seaports, modernization of cities, high-speed trains. China great opening and expansion. Rapid growth of savings and investments. Privatization and market competition. Opening of the economy to the world market. Export expansion and surplus. Inflow of capital and know-how. Nominal exchange rates and real effective exchange rate, rare, and purchase power parity. Growing hard currency reserves. China, historical perspective. Ming Dynasty fall and China's isolation. Imperialism in China, collapse of empire 1911. Reform, revolutions and military. War with Japan from 1937 to 1945. Communist victory over Kuomintang. Great leap from 1958 to 1959. Cultural revolution from 1966 to 1976. Deng Xiaoping reforms 1979. From ideology to pragmatism. China's new model for the world. China's model? Communist planning, stagnation, experiments. Tradition, Confucius and China's socio-economic model? Political and economic breakthrough. Gradual and partial economic liberalization. Institutions and China system. State competition. China economic development after 1979. 32 years of dynamic growth of gross domestic product, GDP. Expansion without initial recession and inflation. Substantial economic improvement of living conditions. Liberalization. Inflow of foreign direct investment, FDI. Balance of payment equilibrium. Moderate inflation. Regional disparities. China basic data on transformation. Average growth rate of gross domestic product, GDP. 9% to 9.5% for 30 years. 5 times higher growth rate of gross domestic product, GDP, compared to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, countries. Moderate inflation and unemployment. Budget balance. From 1979 to 1993, 8 times depreciation of yuan. 1993, currency board 8.28 yuan equal $1. The largest and the most dynamic world economy. China international perspective. New, great and dynamic market and export expansion. China's investment attractiveness, accumulated foreign direct investment, FDI, over $1,000 billion. Rapidly growing domestic savings ratio, 42%. Development of regional cooperation, APEC, ASEAN. ASEAN crisis between 1997 and 1998 and China's expansion. Undervaluation of yuan, growing foreign pressure for appreciation, rapidly growing currency reserves, export surplus, membership of World Trade Organization, (WTO), since 2002. China international perspective. China, the world's largest exporter. Export surplus, growing imports, great imports of raw materials, inflow of foreign direct investment, FDI. China's competitive pressure. China modernization. China infrastructure modernization. China economic model. China's own way to transformation of economy. China's transformation versus Eastern European transformation. Political stability and economic market-oriented gradual transformation. Rejection of shock therapy. Deng Xiaoping, democracy starts conflicts of interests and reduces efficiency. Reforms should be initiated by reformers. Liberalization should open gradual democratization of social and political systems. Chinese economic model. China, ownership, dualism, economic zones. 1997, formal neutrality to private and public ownership, limited static companies privatization, protection of foreign direct investment, FDI, protection of contracts, intellectual property rights, IPR, development of capital market, land ownership. Financial system of China, rapidly growing assets of China's banks, international standards in China banks, importance of state and banking sector, special financial relations with Hong Kong, Chinese overseas capital, foreign direct investments, FDI, exchange rate, nominal, real effective exchange rate, RER, and purchase power parity, PPP, low inflation, budget balance, positive current account and capital account, growing exchange reserves. Tax system, changing tax system, federal and local taxes, tax preference for foreign direct investment, FDI, nominal and effective taxes, budgets as in balance, tax preference for savings of households, social security. Labor relations, labor supply, employment structure, labor activity, flexibility and mobility of labor, working time, wages and salaries, productivity, unit labor costs. China's competitiveness, abundancy of cheap and educated labor, investment attractiveness, foreign direct investment, FDI, and export expansion, foreign direct investment, FDI, and inflow of technologies, know-how, new products, spillover effect, exchange rate policy, mercantilist policies of China. Fall of China greatness, opium wars and China's decline, fall of emperor, republics and Yats and warlords, Kuomintang and Chiang Kai-shek, Japan's expansion in Manchuria, Marco Polo Bridge incident in 1937 in Tsingtao, war with Japan, Communist Party and Mao Zedong, China Civil War, People's Republic of China. China, sources of competitive advantage, social and political stability, labor abundance and cheapness, openness and closeness, exchange rate policy, institutional reforms, savings and accumulation, investments, education. China's competitiveness, China's trade surplus, current account surplus, foreign direct investment, FDI, in China, mercantilist policy of China, China's competitiveness, China as a dynamic market, growing growly of China in international economic relations. China, competitiveness landscape. Economic performance factors, domestic economy. International trade. International investment. Employment. Prices. Government efficiency factors. Public finance. Fiscal policy. Institutional framework. Business legalization. Societal framework. Business efficiency factors, productivity and efficiency. Labor market. Finance. Management practices. Attitudes and values. Infrastructure factors, basic infrastructure. Technological infrastructure. Scientific infrastructure. Health and environment. Education. China, improvements. China, declines. China, economic performance and competitiveness. China, government efficiency and competitiveness. China, business efficiency. China, accumulation and infrastructure. Gross fixed capital formation. Gross fixed capital formation. Gross